everyone, and a very good evening. Hope everyone is doing good and safe. I'm Shrija Santanam, working with DCKAP as a community manager. And first of all, I would like to thank everyone for registering to today's speak series. Let me give you a all quick intro about DCKAP, the organization behind this speaker series initiative. DCKAP is a digital commerce agency helping businesses and brands abroad to create e-commerce storefronts. That said, during these challenging times, being in the lockdown, it's very much important for every one of us to upskill and learn new things. To facilitate learning for our employees as well as the general community, DCKAP started hosting speaker series, a virtual event, so that happens every Friday. Through speaker series, we bring in distinguished thought leaders, technology masters, and change on topics which matter to the community most. So that said, I'm very glad to welcome Aparna Gautam, career growth specialist. She has been training young working people to unlock their potential and help them progress towards their career goals. Today, she is about to speak on overcoming the habit of procrastination. I believe, which is much needed at this COVID-19 situation. I hope you guys will have a great session today. Over to you, Aparna.
Welcome everybody, and thank you so much, Shrija, for that lovely introduction. So before we go on, I would quickly like to take just a few seconds to give a small introduction. You would have to find out who is this woman, providing us this information about procrastination. So I am a marketer turned career growth specialist. I'm a mother to a 6-year-old boy, and I'm also an author. I've also founded an organization called Career Success Mastermind, which works on unlocking the potential of millennials and taking them towards their career goals. I'm so sorry. I've got more than a decade of professional work experience. I've also worked as a social media consultant. Remuneration-wise, I've grown around 1,100% throughout my career, and that's one of the reasons why I'm teaching the tricks of the trade to all the millennials out there. And I've also built a small following for myself, around 26,000 plus, and around over 4 lakh views on LinkedIn. And that's one platform I really enjoying being active on. Also, I wanted to quickly tell you as to why am I teaching this particular topic, right? I could have just come up with something related to career success and career growth. But trust me, if this is one habit all of us can learn to beat, nobody can stop us from our success. Because most of the times, some of us do really know what we want to accomplish. We do have our own dreams. But this one habit is something that, stops us from moving forward in that direction. Why am I teaching procrastination? Because I'd like to call myself the CEO of procrastination, if some of you get what I'm talking about. Because it took me 9 years, literally, to make my passion into my profession. I have always been into training, coaching, and counseling alongside the profession of marketing that I was into. But that was one thing that was truly gratifying for me. Every time I helped someone unlock their thoughts and, help them move forward in their life and career. So finally, after 9 years, thanks to this Corona situation, that I finally turned my passion into profession, and now I'm starting to help many millennials unlock their potential and move towards their career goals. So that's about it about myself. Let's go on. So before I go on to the nuts and bolts of how to beat procrastination, I wanted to quickly share this quote with all of you. While I was putting this together, this is something that really stood out for me. It says, begin doing what you want to do now. We are not living in eternity. We have only this moment, sparkling like a star in our hand and melting like a snowflake. Guys, if you can just understand this particular quote, I think you would have clearly got the idea of what procrastination is all about. See, the moment that we have in our hands today is a sparkling star because it's full of opportunities. We have a choice to make. We can work towards whatever it is that we want to work towards, or we can just allow this moment to melt away like a snowflake. So any moment that comes in, it's also going away, and we're just letting it pass by without making the effort that we need to make towards our future, right? So moving on. So whenever I teach how to beat a certain habit or how to change and become more productive, right? It's very important that we understand the concept of that habit first. It's important that we know what is procrastination all about. And guys, I request you, if you have, any questions, end of this session, and but keep letting me know if you're able to hear me or if I'm going too fast for you. You can let me know in the chat section. So moving forward, I've put together like 3 definitions of procrastination that I came across. And the reason why I'm sharing this definition is because it has certain keywords which will strengthen our understanding of this habit a lot better. Because we always relate to this habit, right? We always keep calling ourselves, hey, I'm a procrastinator. I've been procrastinating about it, about something for a long time. But what is this habit? What really does it mean, right? So if you look at the first definition, it says procrastination is avoidance of doing a task that needs to be accomplished by a certain deadline. It could be further stated as a habitual or intentional delay. So it has become a habit of starting or finishing a task despite knowing it might have negative consequences. So most of the times we do know that the thing that we are procrastinating about has a negative consequence, right? Thank you, Shankar. Thank you for the feedback. The action of delaying or postponing something. All right. And the third one is my favorite. It says procrastination is also known as akrasia. Akrasia is a Greek word. It says literally means the state of mind in which someone acts against their better judgment through weakness of will. So if you guys notice, the words that we have used to describe procrastination are some of these. So the reason why I'm highlighting these as keywords is because it's very important for you to understand that this is what's going on when we are doing or talking about procrastination. There is avoidance of tasks, right? There is a deadline most of the times involved, okay? There is something that needs to be completed. It's a habit. Most of the times it's intentional. We know that we are procrastinating, but we still continue to procrastinate. There is delay. We are delaying it. It more or less is a problem of whether to start something, or sometimes we have started it, but we are procrastinating on just finishing a task. It also tells that, we know that there's going to be negative consequence, right? We know, and it's also important that we understand procrastination is nothing but a state of mind. It's just like how happiness, sadness, excitement, thrill is. Procrastination is also a state of mind, right? But we allow it to continue to be there within us. And it also tells that, it's against our better judgment. We know it. Our judgment says something else, but we are constantly going against it. And it also sometimes means that, the willpower is missing. There's a weakness of will. Okay. So let's move on to understand also that why do we procrastinate, right? Because see, at the end of the day, we know that procrastination is a roadblock. We know we want to beat it. But let me tell you, why is it that, most of us continued, and this is something that's, there is literally like 1 in 5 of us procrastinate. It's literally that big. Everybody, most of us procrastinate because it's a little short of saying that, we keep going back to our comfort zone, right? So why do we procrastinate? Is because we have these thoughts. This is how we talk to ourselves, right? For example, just look at this. It says, I'm not clear about what needs to be done, okay? So I won't get started. The task is too hard to accomplish, okay? So I won't get started because I think that it's too hard for me to accomplish. What if I'm not able to do a great job with this task, right? So then what will I do? I'll start to avoid going forward in that task. What if I'm not good enough, right? What if I fail? We have the fear of judgment also that stops us. I'm not prepared yet. We want the situation to be completely perfect for us to get started on this journey. This isn't the perfect time to start. Let's waste. How many of us have decided that, for example, we want to go to the gym, but we want to go from the coming Monday. We don't want to do it today, right? And then trust me, that Monday never comes. I know most of us can relate. Okay, all right, thank you. So I don't feel like doing it today. Let's start with a fresh mind tomorrow. So we always look at a perfect time, a perfect situation for us to be in, and then we will start. So all the perfectionists in the room, thank you, Rupesh, for the feedback. All the perfectionists in the room would understand that we always want things to become absolutely perfect. So then we will, get started. And that's most of the times why we don't get started. we don't get started or get going forward. All right. So now just let's dig a little deeper into why do we procrastinate. This is one concept which is very powerful, and this is taught by James Clear, who is the author of the best-selling book, Atomic Habits. I don't know if any of you have read it, so high five to you guys who have read the book. Very powerful book. If anybody wants to change their habits, you should read that one book, right? So in the book, he speaks about two selves, right? So imagine that we have a present self and a future self, and take any project that you're procrastinating on. Here I've taken an example of savings, okay? So if, for example, we have to save in the future, means that today we will have to make certain sacrifices to keep that money aside for our future. So who is going to be benefiting from that savings? It's our future self, right? Which will come much later ahead in our life. But what does our present self want? The present self wants to spend the money in other things. Like we want to buy that show. We want to go for that movie. We want to throw that party for our friends. We want to buy that expensive clothing that's come or the sale that's going on. So we want to spend the money right now because understand, guys, that the present self is actually used to immediate rewards. The reason why most of us spend a lot of time on social media, if you know what I'm saying, it's because there is instant gratification, there's instant connect, there's instant engagement, right? The reason why Swiggy's and Zomatos of the world are so popular because food is available just at the click of a button. So our present self is used to being immediately gratified. We want quick results. But if we have to do something for our future self, that means we have to understand that today all we will get is efforts. All we will get is, yes, we might have to make some adjustments. We might have to make a few sacrifices, for a lack of a better word. But the benefits are there for future. So this is a concept that all of us need to understand, that anything meaningful in life would not happen overnight. It would not give you result immediately. You can't go to the gym today and lose 50% of your body weight tomorrow. It will be a constant process. But the magic of getting started is that the moment you start, your job is half done. You have crossed the barrier of starting. People call it the starting trouble. You've crossed that barrier, and then you're moving forward, and then there is automatically a momentum set. And the change also is going to be, so in the start, it will be lesser, but as you move forward, the growth also starts to happen exponentially, right? So they say that it's very hard in business to earn your first 1 lakh rupees. But the moment you've earned your first 1 lakh rupees, chances are you've set your entire system. And after that, the growth is only exponential. It's easier to go from 1 lakh to 10 lakh. It's harder to go from 0 to 1 lakh. So you get what I'm saying? So you have to understand that the effort is going to happen in the present. The results will come in future, and we have to learn to be okay with it. So that's one of the concepts and the reasons why we procrastinate. Okay, so also just want to take a couple of moments to share that why is it crucial to beat procrastination. See, we loosely use this term to define ourselves that, hey, you know what, I've always wanted to write a book, for example, but I'm procrastinating about it. I've been, thinking about it for a long time, but you know what kind of a procrastinator I am. And we keep using this term to describe ourselves. But we don't realize that because of being a procrastinator, these are some of the challenges we are facing, and it is that then becomes crucial to beat this habit. So let me show you why it is crucial. See, for example, if you're a procrastinator, chances are your output is starting to get impacted. See, gone are those days when, we were in school and because of our college or, because of our exams, we used to study overnight and somehow manage to pass. But that time is gone. Right now, when we are in the work environment or in the family space or in our personal dreams and goals, last minute work will not be sufficient, right? Most of the times it will, one, be very careless output because it will start to show that this person is not very efficient and very competent in what they're doing. Also, it will cause you a lot of stress. Okay, so during exams, it was fine because all we needed to do was maybe some of us just wanted to pass, right? And it was easy to do that. But we cannot continue to have the same habit now because each and everything that we're involved in has repercussions. winning it and losing at it both has consequences. So it's important to beat this habit. Again, one other important thing that all of us need to understand is that when we are procrastinating, we are most of the times lost. Okay, so for example, think of a big project that you are involved in. You know, your boss has offered you a big project for you to work on, but since you're not clear and you're afraid that you will fail and you have a fear of judgment and you're just not prepared and you don't think the situation is perfect to get started, you're constantly putting it on hold. You're keeping to say that, you know what, okay, fine. Let's say if the deadline is on Friday, I'll you know what, I'll start from Wednesday and I'll give like 2 full days to the project. But what's happening is, yes, you're not getting started. Yes, you've kept the project away, but in the back of your head, you're constantly thinking about the project. Chances are, A, you're losing your sleep. Chances are, when you're spending time with your family or friends also, you're not being there present 100%, right? Your thoughts are constantly thinking about that project. So it only means that you're lost. And trust me, people around you can sense it, that you're not 100% present with them. And most times it starts to impact relationships as well. Okay, then it impacts your health. So this is like very, very basic. I don't know why we you know, how do I say it, ignore this fact completely. But procrastination has a direct impact on not just our physical health, but our mental health as well, right? So the more stressed you are, the more you're losing your sleep, the more you're thinking about something constantly and not acting upon it, you're causing a sense of frustration and stress inside you. And the more it starts to continue, the more it becomes a habit. The more you feel stuck, that, oh my God, I have been talking about it for 2 years now and I haven't really started. And the more far ahead you start to go from your dream or the action that you need to take, the more frustrating it becomes. Worst part, we also are habitual, you know, how do I say it? We compare ourselves with others. So everybody who's getting success in the task that we have been procrastinating on, trust me, the stress is 10x, you know, just by comparison as well. So all of this starts to impact your inner health, and that has further impacted your physical health as well. Okay. Finally, and I think if I just explain this one point, you will understand how crucial this is. That, you know what, instead of thinking that somebody didn't give me an opportunity, or, you know, people didn't support me, or I had a very, difficult past, or, you know, I am not having the same resources that others have. These are all thoughts. Just by thinking all these things, you are becoming a roadblock in your own success. Okay, so that is one very critical thing. You have to get out of your way. You are born for excellence. I always tell my clients, you are born for excellence. You can achieve anything in the world. But the only thing that you are differentiating yourself from people who have actually accomplished things is only by stopping yourself, you know, through these thoughts and by being a procrastinator. Okay, so you are becoming a roadblock. You are the person. I was giving this example to a couple of people the other day that, you know what, for example, remember when we were teenagers, when we wanted to badly go to a party, okay? And our parents used to tell us that, listen, you don't want to go to this party, it's not safe, I can't give you permission. At that moment, most of the time, we used to get very frustrated and we used to hate somebody putting restrictions on us. Okay, but if that's the case, then how are we okay with being a roadblock in our own life? Now we are stopping our own success. We are stopping the enjoyment and the happiness that success brings. Okay, and we are somehow okay with it and we have accepted it. Okay, so because of all of these reasons, it becomes very crucial that we overcome this habit. Okay. So finally, the reason why all of you have come together today, I'm very happy that, you know, we've reached the stage finally, and I'm hoping that I have been able to give you at least a basic understanding of what procrastination is all about. Moving forward, let me take you through a 6-step process through which you can overcome this habit. It's not hard, it's not difficult, it's very simple, but you have to commit to apply these steps. Knowing this and making a note in your diary and then going off will only mean that you have attended one more online masterclass. You have just attended one more course or one more session. But unless you commit that, you know what, I will pick up at least one step from this and start to apply, you'll start to see change in your life. Okay, so here are the 6 steps. If you have a pen and a paper, I would love for you to take it down as well. So the first step is very crucial for you to understand that why do you want to do that thing? Why is that project important to you? My mentors have taught me that if I don't have a very, very emotional reason for accomplishing something, chances are I will not get accomplished, okay, on that task. For example, I may be a big fan of Sachin Tendulkar, okay, and I may keep telling myself that one day I want to become like him. Okay, but unless I have a very emotional connect with that sport, I will not be able to, you know, push myself, because it takes a lot of hard work to become someone as legendary as him, or even become 10% of what he is, right? So any big task or any idol or any large scary goal that you have for yourself, if you don't have an emotional reason behind it, you will never ever get going in that project or in that task. Also, it's very important for you to do the flip side of it as well. For example, if you understand that, you know, this particular thing I've been thinking about for months now, but you know what, I'm not really keen on how or what it's going to do to me once it's accomplished, right? So for example, not everybody wants to become an author, but they somehow feel that, you know, authors have this great fame and they are so popular and all of that, and there's so much, you know, community building around them. So let me also be that. But chances are when you do a deep thinking, maybe writing is not something that's for you. Maybe you don't feel very comfortable sharing your story, or, you know, writing maybe 1,000 words or 2,000, 6,000 words, the practice that it involves, all that's too much for you. Chances are you're more of an orator. Chances are you're more of a creator or a painter or a manager or a people's person. So all of that, you have to first understand who you are and why do you want to do this. And I again, stress on this fact, it has to be a very, very emotional reason why you're doing something you're doing. For example, I have a story of my own, right? So me becoming a career growth specialist. So all my life, I was inspired by trainers and coaches. But most part of my life, I used to just look at them and feel very, how do I say it? Maybe overwhelmed that, you know, look at how much of attention they're getting. Look at the kind of followership they have. Look at the, you know, the kind of content that they put out. But chances are most of the times I never thought about the kind of effort somebody is putting in to make sure they are there. The preparation that goes in, you know, the under the sea level iceberg thing that all of us talk about. Chances are I was not thinking about that. But then when I underwent a self-discovery, I underwent as to who I am as a person and why do I want to become a trainer and a coach, is when it became clear. And there's a very emotional reason. So I have made my career on my own. My father being a central government employee, I didn't have anyone to guide me because I was a private employee. So there was nobody in my family or friend circle who could really give me the guidance I was looking for. So I had to figure it out all on my own and have made a ton of mistakes, but I've learned from it, and there's a lot of research that's also gone into it. So I feel very excited now sharing it with people who are maybe just starting out on their career or are feeling stuck on their career path, right? So that has become a very important emotional reason why I am on this journey, right? So all of you have to first analyze what is it that you want to accomplish, but most important is also to understand why do you want to accomplish that. Okay, second step for overcoming this habit is that you have to be kind to yourself. I mean, I can't stop talking about how important this particular thing is, because see, what happens is, don't put yourself into the vicious circle of not doing something, then bashing yourself about it, then feeling bad about it, and then again, you know, just re-strengthening the fact that I am not going to be able to do it. So it's just a vicious cycle. You are just bashing yourself and making it harder for you to get started. Okay, be kind to yourself. For example, if somebody has a habit of waking up at 11:30 every day, but you always wanted to wake up earlier because you're inspired by how people are able to wake up at 5 o'clock and all the successful people's morning routine videos that we keep watching. So chances are every day you're making an alarm, you're fixing an alarm of 5 o'clock, but you're still getting up at 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something, right? So you have to be kind to yourself. You cannot bash yourself. Listen, once again, I was not able to get up. Once again, see, I can't do anything right, and all of that. Don't do that to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself and understand that, listen, this habit has been formed from years. Maybe it's very rare that I have seen a 5 o'clock in my life. So what I need to do is probably from 11, let's start to wake up at 10 o'clock. Let's start to wake up at a 9:30 and slowly make a progression towards coming to a 5 o'clock also. And most importantly, like the first step, why do you want to get up at 5 o'clock? First, you have to also be very clear about that, but it's important that you're kind to yourself. Overcoming procrastination is a process. And throughout the process, you have to support yourself, okay? So learn to be kind to yourself. This is very, very obvious that most of the times whenever a new thing comes in front of us, we just get overwhelmed by the magnificence of the task, how big it is for us to accomplish, okay? So what happens is most of the times we never get down to making a step-by-step process. We don't cut it down into smaller chunks of tasks. For example, again, I will keep going back to the book writing example because that was something I was procrastinating on for a very long time until I finally got published. So what used to happen was I used to read all these, articles about book writing and stuff, but still it used to feel like a very overwhelming thing to accomplish. Who will write 6,000 words? Who will, think what goes on? Who will publish me? What will happen? And all those things. Right? So you have to first understand that, see, for example, if it's book writing, you have to make a plan. And chances are the first thing that you have to do is not worry about the whole book, but probably just worry about the book title. Okay, so maybe take 2 days just to write your title, maybe a few options, and then write the outline of the first 10 chapters, and then start to deal with each chapter as it goes. And then slowly, maybe 1 month down the line, you would have fairly accomplished a major part of your book, and you would be knowing as to, where this book is headed, right? So you have to make a plan for anything that you want to accomplish, and then cut it into small, tiny chunks of action steps, and then get started on moving forward in that, okay? The fourth step is to prioritize. See, how I'd like to explain it is that most of us love to be busy and love to express and make ourselves look very busy. We love it when people say that, you know what, hey, Aparna, you are so busy, you're such a busy woman, I'm not able to get hold of you. And that makes you feel so good. Right? But what's happening is, yes, your time is going away. Yes, your calendar is looking very full, but still you're not able to accomplish the most important task that you wanted to accomplish, right? It's being urgent, dealing with something that's urgent versus dealing with something that's important. Most of the times we are doing stuff that's urgent, okay? So what's important is that you have to learn to prioritize. Now, how do I do this is, if, for example, I'm making a list of 10 things I want to accomplish, I will first make the list, then I will prioritize and reorder the list. Most of the times what happens is we make a list and we start accomplishing it from serial number 1 to 10 in a same serial order. But what happens is subconsciously we are delaying the tasks that we also know are critical. Brian Tracy's book, I don't know if any of you have read Eat That Frog, right? So in that book he says that it's very important that you finish the most critical, most challenging or most time-taking or crucial tasks first. What will happen is that will give you a sense of achievement, and you will be able to accomplish some of the other tasks with way more confidence, way more positive vibe per se. So it's very important that you prioritize and move forward. Only then you will see progress into the n number of tasks that you are actually procrastinating on. Also, do not multitask, because what happens, again, like it's very related to the previous point that we were talking about, that we have all become habituated to multitasking. Okay, chances are I'm writing my book and I also have multiple tabs open on my laptop. I also have mobile notifications going on every 2 minutes. I also have my family waiting for me to come and cook something in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm also thinking about that. Chances are somebody called in between and I'm picking up the phone as well. So what do you think is happening to my book writing? Okay, obviously I'm not contributing 100% to that effort, to that project that is very, very crucial for me, right? So multitasking is an enemy of focus. It's an enemy of productivity. It's also causing you a lot of stress without you realizing. Chances are by the time it's ready for time for you to hit the bed, you're completely drained and exhausted. And you also realize that nothing much got done during the day, right? How many of us have had that in our professional life and in our personal life, right? So stop multitasking. Yes, prioritize your tasks and then focus on it one by one. Keep your phone away when you have to do something important. And maybe when you're on your phone, then don't look at other things as well. Spend that time when you're on the phone, maybe, take out like half an hour, 20 minutes, and then focus on whatever it is that you have to do on your phone as well. But do not multitask and have various things going on at the same time for you, right? The final step is that you have to learn to be better, because most of the times, the other reason why, like I said in the earlier stage of the presentation, is that we don't get started because we feel we are not good enough. Okay. And whenever that thought comes in, you have to ask yourself, why is this thought coming to me, right? What is it that I don't know about this project? I'm not good enough means what? Okay. So for example, yes, eat that frog. For example, if you want to, let's say you're a working professional and you want to do a startup, okay, and you always wanted to start a business of your own, you wanted to work for yourself, but you have never gotten around to doing it because you have a fear of failing and you're doubting yourself and things like that. Okay, Vikram, just 1 second. The previous slide is do not multitask. Okay, do not multitask. All right. So why do I say that, you have to learn to be better is because it's important for you to understand that you have this thought of not being good enough because you are looking at it maybe without realizing you have this notion that there are some aspects of this task that you're not very comfortable with. Like I was giving you a business example, right? So you may have a great product, okay? For example, you want to become a trainer, okay? And become a freelancer, or you want to become a content writer, like a freelancer content writer, okay? So it's not important for you to just have a great content writing talent, okay? It's also important for you to know how to market yourself. It's also important for you to know how to get clients. It's also important for you to know that when somebody from the other side has expressed interest in hiring you, how will you deal with that conversation? How will you negotiate and make sure that you get your due, right? Instead of just the market price, maybe your quality is way more important. So chances are you have to learn the art of negotiating. Chances are you have to learn to gather testimonials and then share it with the world so that they will also understand and see your value. So there's just so much to be able to become a successful freelancer. So the reason why most of the times we don't get started is because we have a fear that we don't know everything. But that's where the solution is as well, right? So I always say that the step number one is to be aware that fine, okay, you know now, you know that you don't know some parts of this task, but that only means that you have to make a list of it and start to get acquainted with those concepts, start to teach yourself. Yes, start to teach yourself, areas that you find you're missing out on. And then you will realize that maybe give it a couple of weeks, you would have become very good at it. So that's very important for you to, sometimes your inner thoughts are hinting towards a gap that you may have in your own self. But what happens is, and please do not get offended, but most of us do not allow ourselves to learn from others because we have a huge ego. We have a huge ego that stops us, that, what if I ask for guidance and the other person feels that I don't know much, right? What will the world think that, oh my God, I'm this brilliant, professional, I have so much of experience, but I am asking for guidance and I'm asking for help and what will people say? So that's nothing but ego, right? If your project, if your mission, if your goal is that much more important to you, you have to spend time to learn. Okay, Vikram, why don't we finish and then we can have a discussion on it? Okay, I'd love to hear what you have to say about multitasking. Okay, so yeah, it's very important that, you know, if that goal is so much more important for you, you have to get down and start to learn and get hold of people who have, you know, excellence or expertise in that area. Let your ego slide away, because that's another thing that's stopping you from moving forward in your tasks, right? I also have one bonus. I know that there are 6 steps and I was talking about it, but this is one more very, very powerful step. Why do I talk about this step is because if you guys understood in the beginning part of the presentation, I was talking about the state of mind, right? I was talking about how all of us have these thoughts around procrastination, that, you know, I'm not good enough, what if I fail, what will people say, I'm not prepared yet, I'm not ready yet. So actually, if you notice, these are all how do I say, these are all the conversations that we have with ourselves. These are constant chatter, that little voice going on in our head that is stopping us from getting started on our projects and on our tasks. So this bonus tip will actually help you rephrase that conversation. Because it's important, whenever we write something wrong, you remember back in school, we always could erase it and then attempt it again. That's what we have to do with our thoughts as well. So this step is nothing but affirmations. I don't know if how many of you have heard about it or practiced it already, but affirmations are nothing but a practice of feeding or externally supporting yourself with positive thoughts. Chances are we have got used to thinking negative and having a lot of self-doubt that we do not, think that there is a solution for it. But there is, and it has to take effort again. You have to every day, let's say, repeat to your own self that you love taking action. Okay, chances are we've labeled ourselves as lazy and then we don't do anything about it. But you have to tell yourself that you love taking action. Okay, my success is my responsibility. So this particular affirmation will help you realize that, see, blame game's not going to work. Some of us are in our 30s, we are in our 40s, 50s, we are in our 20s, and a lot of our time has already gone by. And I know that most of the time we also blame others for our failures and stuff like that. But the moment you realize that your success is your responsibility, you have clarity. And then you have to completely take charge of your life and move forward. So this is one very powerful affirmation. Repeat it to yourself. My success is my responsibility. Also, my success depends on my today. Okay, now why do I say it's important that we say that? Is because we also postpone. Procrastination is nothing but delaying a task, right? So you have to decide on doing something about it today, because tomorrow never comes. We keep postponing it until there is a hard pressure on delivering something just overnight. And even if we had enough time, we never got around to doing something about it. But if you focus on every day, taking few steps towards that, you will save yourself some stress, you'll save yourself from feeling lost and all those other things that we spoke about. So these 3 are very, very powerful affirmations that all of us can benefit from. I love taking action. My success is my responsibility, and my success depends on my today. And with this, we have come to the end of our presentation, and I'm open for questions. I just want to tell you guys that you always have to be good, keep growing, and remember to take action. So I'm open for questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. Shrija, should I be going to the Q&A section?
I believe like
I would love to have some feedback. Please let me know how the session went. What were your takeaways? What is the most important step that you are going to act upon? I would love to hear from you guys.
And thank you, Aparna. Thank you so much for the
Thank you, Shrija.
Great learning we had for this evening.
Awesome.
And I believe like we have a query from Vikram Singh. Like if you wish, like you can clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was coming to that. So let's talk about Vikram's query itself, right? So Vikram, you could just elaborate what is the benefit you see in multitasking? Then probably I could answer it. I understand that you disagree. So what's your take on multitasking? How has it helped you? Give me an example, probably. Go So while Vikram types out, I would just read out some of the Q&A questions. Mihir asks, good evening, ma'am. I would appreciate if you can share on PPT in presentation mode for better visibility. I'm sorry, Mihir, only thing is there's a concern with changing slides. So I hope you were able to get most of the points. Maybe I'll summarize it and pass it on to Shrija, and she can also pass it on to you guys if need be. Also, what I used to, okay, you have said you have, use some of these statements for yourself. Okay. Shankar.
Aparna?
Is that Vikram?
Hi, Vikram here. Can we speak?
Hi, Vikram. Yes, yes.
Hi, good evening. Very good session going on.
Thank you so much, Vikram.
Because today I had to make two choices, whether to attend your session. There was one more session.
And you chose mine. I'm grateful.
And then I chose because I had this book, Brian Tracy also, which because I finish one book in a week. So I'm going to start this book tomorrow.
That will be the best book you've ever read. I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
I still keep going back to the book.
Even I recommended this book to one of my team member also.
Very nice.
Now I come to the question. Suppose you said that we should avoid multitasking.
Yes.
And in the corporate, it is expected from everyone, especially at the we are the top leader. I'm a plant HR head.
Okay.
So I cannot say to my boss that I'm doing this work. I cannot do this. So multitasking is one of the competency which is required in the corporate world. How we can avoid this?
Okay, so now give me an example, because chances are we are speaking about multitasking in different contexts. So you give me an example of, how multitasking helps you. Because, Vikram, I'll just clarify. For me, what I meant by multitasking was whenever you're working on a particular task, right? Chances are you are, let's say you're working on a presentation. Okay, so if you have to work on it for, let's say, the next 1 hour, you have kept aside 1 hour for that, chances are try to keep that chunk for that presentation. The moment we keep getting pulled away into multiple directions, we are not doing a great job with that presentation. It's just one example, but it doesn't mean that it will always be 100% perfect. Right? So now, Vikram, if you could give me an example, maybe I'll understand in what context you are saying this.
So I tell you, suppose multitasking where we should avoid there. And suppose today I have kept a timing that 8 to 9. I have to do one proposal. I have to submit a proposal. So between 8 to 10, I will not do anything. I will do focus on the project, that proposal only.
Yes.
So because this strategy I opted 2 months back, I had to submit 2 very crucial proposal to the management. Yes. So I was not getting the time in the daytime.
Correct.
So what I did, I started going 1 hour early in the office.
Yes.
And then I made that I will not open this idiot inbox. I will not open, because the inbox is a devil.
Yes.
That inbox is a devil to your productivity.
It is.
So, so I will not open my inbox until 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
So no disturbance, no telephone, no tea, nothing
Absolutely.
else. 8 to 9 I kept, and I opt a strategy called like eating the frog in the pieces, or breaking the elephant into pieces.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So I was able to, that's why on that part I agree. If you are doing something, you should finish, or you should say, okay, I will devote 1 hour every day on this project and complete it in 10 days.
Yes.
But otherwise we are expected multitasking. You have to do this also, this also, this also. I have to send a mail to vendor. I have to give a training. I have to send a MS to corporate. So we cannot say, okay, I'm doing this job, I cannot do. Every time they will call from the boss, Vikram, send me this urgently. So at times you are doing something, you have to give your boss as a meeting, and you have to leave that work because boss has the urgency, and you have to do it.
Right. So
at times you have to do the firefighting also.
Yes. So in this context, I was talking about multitasking more from a procrastination context. Okay. What you're talking about is multitasking as a skill. Okay. So most of us, I mean, I am a mother, so I cannot even explain how much of multitasking I'm required to do. But what's important is that we have to learn to prioritize. That yes, there are some parts of our days we are doing multitasking. Chances are I'm on a Zoom call with my team, and I'm also making a task, some critical task for myself on the side. I'm making notes, right? So all of that is important as a skill, I agree. But if we continue to do multitasking, then chances are our calendar, like I said, is starting to fill up. We are divided into multiple directions, but we are not going back to that one important project that we wanted to do. Sometimes for our own self, or sometimes maybe it's critical for our promotion, or it's important from a personal standpoint, maybe planning a vacation or anything. So chances are that when you're working on those key projects, which is very, very crucial for your own self, you have to dedicate single-minded focus for that. I was talking about it in that context. Have I clarified it, Vikram?
Yeah. One more thing, Aparna.
Yeah, Vikram.
Here I cannot see the participants. Otherwise, we only see chat, raise hand, question, answer.
Yeah, so this is a webinar format. Maybe Shrija can clarify. So when it is a Zoom meeting format, you can always look at other people. You'll be able to know how many. But in a webinar format, the numbers aren't shown in the format of Zoom. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, I have around 58 people live, and earlier I had around 75 while the session was going on.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Hope that clarifies. Thank you so much, Vikram, for asking that question.
Okay, thank you clarifying.
Awesome. Okay. So should we go on, Shrija, to the next question?
Yeah, probably we can go on to the next question in the Q&A.
Yes, I'm on the Q&A box. Okay. So Ayyappa asks me how to keep motivated ourselves anytime. Okay, so this is a very important question. In fact, the other day I had put out a video and a couple of people had commented there as well. See, first of all, we need to understand, Ayyappa, and if it's relevant for others as well, that motivation is an internal thing, okay? And it comes from your why. Whatever it is that you're needing to motivate yourself to do, you have to understand how important that particular thing for you is. For example, the most common example where we need motivation is for fitness, right? So most of us want motivation, okay, how to remain fit, how to work out every day, how to eat healthy. But the reason why we get, lose track is because somewhere back of our head, we don't think that's very important. We think that can be postponed. And we keep postponing it until one day the doctor's prescription says that, listen, you have to work out every 30 minutes, otherwise going to have heart trouble. Or you are already showing signs of heart trouble, now you do. So then what happens? You suddenly are having motivation or fear or whatever you call it, pressure to do it, because now your mind understands that this is very critical for you. So whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, if you are requiring too much external motivation to do that, I want you to think about how important that task is for you. It has to be, like I said, it has to have an emotional reason for you to accomplish that task. So Ayyappa, if you're around, let me know if I have answered your question. Okay.
Aparna, I very strongly agree that fear is the biggest motivation.
Absolutely. Look at all men helping us in the kitchen during this lockdown. Right. So now there is no option. There is a famous joke going around that all the CEOs and CFOs and board of directors are actually helping people out, helping their wives out in the kitchen. Because yes, what will you do? A time has come that you have to contribute. Otherwise, earlier when things were normal, we weren't getting any support. So yeah, fear is a big motivation. Okay. Sandeep says, I understood one thing from the seminar, ma'am. Negative thoughts are the main reason for procrastination. Yes, Sandeep. Negative thoughts are the main reason. And to overcome it is to be aware that you have negative thoughts and then let it pass by and focus on what's important to you. Rupesh asked me, in earlier session, you told about some book. Can you repeat the name? Yes, I have mentioned two books. One is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And the other book I spoke about was Brian Tracy's book, what Vikram was also mentioning, Eat That Frog. So these two books are very, very important for you to read if you are wanting to deep dive into procrastination. Gautam is asking, when is it good to procrastinate? It's good to procrastinate on bad habits. Okay, so if there is something bad and which is not going to serve you at all, if you have to, probably that's something you can procrastinate. You can procrastinate bad management of money, So procrastinate on the things that's not serving you well, but please take up very seriously the projects that are important for you and work towards it. So it's okay to procrastinate on bad habits, if I had to answer it that way. To be as target oriented, of course, you have to be goal oriented. Sanjana is asking, how do we overcome the fear of missing out? Okay, what is giving you that fear? Anything that you want to overcome, you have to first understand the trigger. Okay, so if you have a fear of missing out, chances are you are again not aligned towards your life goals. You're not aligned towards what is it that you want to accomplish in life. Fear of missing out constantly comes from comparison with others. So you have to look at that and not let that affect you. Focus on what is important for you and keep channelizing your energies towards that. Your FOMO will go. Okay. Balaganesh is asking me how to improve communication skill. Wow. So that's, Shrija, I think that has to be another session in itself. But improving communication skill comes from practice. It comes from your inner belief that whatever you're saying is very, very important and it is helping someone. So you have to, communicate from that angle and practice as much as you can. And slowly you'll start to see improvement in your communication skills. So that's probably the 2 tips that I can give you in the short span of time. Yes, Vikram, of course, like I said, my 6th step was learn and be better, because we procrastinate because we feel there is a gap in our skill set to accomplish that task. Thank you so much. Anonymous attendee says, I got the main point from this webinar is to get out of procrastination. We need to be responsible. Yes, very good. We need to be responsible for our own habit and not blaming on anybody. Very good. I think that's one takeaway that I want everybody to have, that you cannot blame others for your failures. The moment you take responsibility, you'll start to see immense change in yourself and your life as well. So thank you so much, guys. I think it was amazing. Lack of concentration, an important reason for procrastination. Again, say you're talking about 2 problems here. The moment you are stopping to multitask, the moment you're learning to prioritize, the moment you have a very emotional reason why you want to accomplish something, your lack of concentration will go. It's as simple as that. Trust me, if you're eating your favorite food, okay, and I'm a foodie, so I give a lot of food examples. If you're relishing that particular lovely, delicious dish that you wanted to eat, your concentration is on the food. You love it. You enjoy that meal so much. Then you don't complain about lack of concentration. But when you're doing something that you feel is hard to do or is not interesting enough to do, then you complain about lack of concentration because maybe you're not clear about it. If somebody is giving you a boring lecture, you won't have concentration. But if you're watching your favorite movie, you will have concentration. So think about where this lack of concentration is coming from and then try to solve it from that aspect. I hope I have answered that question for you, Anand. Then I have another one. Okay, Sanjana is asking, what's the difference between taking a break and procrastinating? Wow, so let me go back to the 2nd step that I told you. Be kind to yourself. See, you cannot be working 24/7, or you cannot be worrying about your projects and tasks 24/7. Taking a break is literally like refueling yourself. Think of it as you are going for a long drive, okay? You're taking a road trip from, let's say I'm in Chennai, so from Chennai to, let's say, Goa or Bangalore. We've taken a road trip. But we cannot be driving 6 hours continuously. We'll have to take a break. We'll have to, fill the tank. We'll have to take a pit stop and we'll have to get some food maybe on the way. We'll have to freshen up ourselves. So taking a break is literally for you to prep yourself to have more focus to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, right? So it's very important for you to take a break, but then procrastination is, you already know this. I mean, we consciously know that we are procrastinating on something. Take a break, but remember to get back. That's all. That's all is the difference. Sandeep is asking, can subconscious mind reprogramming helps us to avoid procrastination? See, I understand subconscious mind reprogramming. There is again, it's a very intense subject. But what's more important is if you're able to just apply the affirmations, you already start to see there is reprogramming happening. Okay, how have you? Let's say there is a vegetable that you hated to eat. Okay, but suddenly when you understood the value of that green vegetable and you saw how nutritious it was, and you're seeing already change in your body and your health. You're already reprogrammed and you're not hating that vegetable anymore. right? So you have to learn to see the value in whatever it is that you want to accomplish. You'll automatically see reprogramming happening. It's not a very heavy technical thing to do. It's just about changing the conversations that you're having with yourself. That's all. Rana says, oh, Rana, you're here. Thank you, ma'am, for the webinar. I really appreciate your efforts. Thank you so much, Rana, for being here. Anonymous attendee says, is any relationship with overconfidence and procrastination? Overconfidence and procrastination, no. I think lack of confidence and procrastination are more related. If you have overconfidence, yeah, maybe there is, right? At the end of the day, you may feel that this task will just take 5 minutes for me. And finally, when you get around to doing it, it is a lot more. So overconfidence, I would attach it to lack of knowledge. I will attach it to lack of your understanding of the task itself, okay? So overconfidence is a very overrated word, so to speak. You have to understand the task, you have to know what it takes to accomplish it, and then go forward in accomplishing it. That's all. Don't label yourself with too many things. Most of the times we learn to just label ourselves with things. Overconfidence, lack of confidence, procrastinator, lazy, this, that. You can just understand there is a task at hand, it's important for you, and get started. That's all. Thank you, Ayappa, Yasai. Thank you, ma'am. Excellent session and suggestions for books. Thank you so much. What else, guys? Please let me know what are your takeaways. I would love to listen what takeaways you have from this session. I still have around 40 plus people online here. Please let me know how it went for you. I also would love to inform you guys, for everyone who's online, that I'm doing a masterclass starting Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. It's around 5-day workshop, and I'm doing for on the topic of career success. I'm going to be deep diving into how you can be successful in your career, how to get that job, how to grow into your career, how to find what you love to do, and how to get started on doing it. You can also learn how to create your own side hustle and start to monetize your skills. So these are some of the very crucial things that I'm going to be teaching from Monday, the batch starting from May 11th. So I'm leaving my phone number here. So in case anybody is interested to know more about it. And the fee is very, very nominal. For the entire 5-day masterclass, I'm charging 499 rupees. So I'm just leaving my phone number here. In case any of you would find this relevant, please drop a hi on WhatsApp and then we can chat about it. So that's my, okay, that's wrong, 1 second. Yeah, so that's, anybody wants to get in touch and talk more about the learnings from today or generally about the program, I'd be happy to help. That's all from my side, Shrija. I hope you enjoyed the session as well.
Thank you so much, Aparna, and thank you for spending your time on your busy schedule for coming
so
with our community people for addressing the procrastination. I believe which is much needed at this scenario, and it's good to see a lot of Q&A post your presentation.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's really great. And probably for all the participants who are here, we will send you across the recorded session of this session along with the mail. And I do have a bit information about the next upcoming speaker series. So the speaker series happens on every Friday at okay, hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah. Okay, so the speaker series happen on every Friday at 5:30 p.m. So the next week we have Batmani Janaki, and she's a founder of Broadcast, and she's been a project management role for more than 10 years, and she's gonna present on why unhappy customers are the best. Okay, so you guys, if you feel it is relevant to your industry or something else, please do register. So we'll come back with the registration link for all the participants. And thank you so much. And thank you, Aparna, for the valuable learning you have given. And thank you so much. And thank you all.